Good evening. I'm Sharon Pinkstaff, Chair of Pros Commission. Welcome to Monday, June 1st, 2026 regular Pros Commission meeting. Commission Secretary Mike Vickers, would you please call roll?
Yes, Student Commissioner Conson,
Here.
Commissioner Oler,
Here.
Commissioner Garland,
Here.
Commissioner Brockhouse,
Here.
Vice Chair Sasser,
Here.
and Chair Pinkstaff.
Here.
Let the record show that everyone is present.
All right, next on the agenda is public communications. This portion of the meeting is reserved for comment on items not on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the commission cannot act on items raised during public communications, but may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed, request clarification, or refer the item to staff. Written comments submitted have been posted to the city's website for public review and are included in the meeting record, but will not be separately read into the record. Any public comments? You need to. Yeah, you have 2 minutes to comment on the item and state the name and your city of residence for the record. You can fill out the card, Barbara, afterwards. Start the timer.
Hello. Hello, my name is Barbara Yennis. I've been a resident of Walnut Creek since 1996. You may or may not know that areas around the power lines in Lime Ridge were cleared by probably PG&E or PG&E contractors. This was back in July 2025. When they cleared about 20 Mount Diablo manzanitas down to the ground level and just left stumps. And Chaparral was totally cleared in another area where there's a California endangered native plant called the Eriastrum. I wrote an email and gave you some information on the ranking of these plants and shrubs. Apparently there was apparently city staff did not or has an agreement with PG&E that PG&E would contact them before they do any work within Lime Ridge. But in early July 2025, this did not happen. In late July 2025, city staff met with PG&E representatives, and city staff assured that an agreement email stating the need to communicate more often and communication with PG&E will continue to improve, and this will help prevent future challenges. Then in May 2026, just happened, apparently PG&E workers or contractors, I think, although I haven't verified this with city as I haven't been contacted, they went up there and did further clearing around the power lines down to the ground level. So there were things that were growing back and took them all down. Citizens notified staff on 5/22, it was right before Labor Day or Memorial Day, and appears additional clearing, except for a small area, was not continued. So, okay, I just have a remaining question. If city staff it doesn't have the okay from PG&E that they're going to contact them before, something needs to be done to protect some of the endangered plants and things. Thank you very much. Sorry for being out of breath.
All right.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions? The public comments? Thank you. Any other public comments? No? All right. We'll move to the next portion of the agenda, consent calendar. Does any commissioner wish to pull this item for discussion? Okay. Does any member of the staff wish to pull any item for discussion?
No.
Okay. Does any member of the public wish to comment on an item on the consent calendar? Okay. All right, seeing no speakers, I'll ask the commission if anyone would like to make a motion with regard to the consent calendar.
I move we approve the consent calendar item of the minutes of our Pros Commission meeting, April 6th, 2026.
All right, do we have a second?
I second.
All right, let the record show that, oh, we didn't call vote.
Yeah, we have a first and second, and I'll call roll.
Okay,
Okay. Student Commissioner Conson?
I'm supposed to say yes?
Yeah, or if you're in agreement with the motion that was filed to accept the consent calendar, yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Oler?
Yes.
Commissioner Garland?
Yes.
Commissioner Brockhouse?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sasser?
Yes.
And Chair Pinkstaff?
yes.
Let the motion show that it passes unanimously.
All right, moving along. Next item on the agenda is presentation by one of our nonprofit. As part of the Year of the Volunteer, I invite Bob Simmons of the Walnut Creek Watershed forward to provide the presentation.
Okay. Well, good evening, and thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. By the way, my name is Bob Simmons, it was sort of mentioned, and I served on the Pros Commission from 2000 to 2004. So I have had the opportunity to sit in the chairs that you're sitting in and think about some of the things that you get to think about to help the city become better. I was last year in 2021, and I was giving basically an introductory talk about what the Walnut Creek Watershed Council was and what it was doing and what we were trying to do. We've had some, I'm going to call them significant sort of developments, and I kind of want to bring you up to date on that, as well as talk about a couple things that we're doing and things that we could be doing in the city of Walnut Creek. The first slide up there I like to show because it shows somebody fishing in Walnut, the city. I mean, one more thing. When you hear me say the city of Walnut Creek, that means the city. When you hear me just say Walnut Creek, it will be the creek. And if you think I missed that, just raise your hand and I'll sort of do this. But this was fishing in Walnut Creek in the 1940s, before Broadway Plaza was built, and before the concrete channel was built. And so I will just say you can still fish in Walnut Creek, the city of Walnut Creek, but except for the pond at Heather Farm Park, you won't catch any fish. They just aren't there. But I like this because it provides context, and I also like the quote that I use up there because I think one of the things that happens, I'm going to use the word we here, and it's important, I'm not saying you did this or you did this, but we as a civilization from around 1950 to the present pretty much buried our creeks, and to me, took away some of the magic that water provides. A couple of us are old enough to remember playing in the creek, and that was really a magical time. And when you go hiking or anything like that, a lot of people like to hike along creeks, so I like that slide. So the purpose of today's presentation is really to just update you on what we're doing and to discuss some restoration opportunities in the city of Walnut Creek. But I want to start with what is a watershed, because I think that's fairly important to understand. And let me see if I can do this right. Whoops, there we go. Some people, when I ask people what is a watershed, sometimes it takes people a little while to sort of explain what is a watershed, and we get all sorts of different explanations. But this outline really sort of shows what the watershed is, and basically every drop of rain that falls will stay within that watershed, and some of that rainwater will come out through the creeks to the bay or to the ocean or whatever. Not all of the water will, because some of it is absorbed by plants, some of it is lost to evaporation, but this really shows the hydrologic process that really, to me, fits in fairly well with the quote from Lauren Isley, who is an early environmental writer who really talked about how important water is in our civilization. So this shows you the Walnut Creek watershed. It shows 3 different views of it. The top one shows where we are in terms of the county. The Walnut Creek watershed is the largest watershed in Contra Costa County. This kind of shows it a little better in a little more detail, and I hope I'm not bothering you too much with this thing. And then this basically shows, and you'll see this again in the next slide. I already hit the next slide. Okay, this is good. So when we started a number of years ago, there was only one Friends group that existed, and that was the Friends of the Creeks, which is a City of Walnut Creek sort of based organization, presently led by Leslie Hunt, who lives in the city. The Lafayette Creeks Committee has been in place for a long time. It actually is a committee of the City of Lafayette, and they meet regularly. They follow the Brown Act and all the other things that are associated with being a committee of the city. The other 4 Friends groups really were created as a result of our council being created, and each of them are doing really interesting things in their area of interest, and we'll talk about. We're going to focus on the City of Walnut Creek today, so we're not going to talk about what Friends of San Ramon Creek has done or Friends of Concord Creek have done, but and they're each doing a little bit different because of what their membership is, but they're all working on improving the health of the watershed and educating people on what is the watershed. The Friends of Concord Creeks, it has some, the head of that has some young kids, and so it's very much more family-oriented. The Friends of San Ramon Creek is a number of people in that group are of retirement age, and they just like to go out and do things, and they do. So this shows the creeks in Walnut Creek. Until I saw this slide, I did not know that there were 20 named creeks, and the word name is important there, in the City of Walnut Creek, but there are. Before I saw this slide, I could probably name 3 or 4. I can name a few more now. But it's really interesting to see, and let me see if I can do this right. This is roughly where we are, and by way of further, whoops, let me back up a second. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Okay, by way of further explanation and to show it visually, Las Trampas Creek comes in from the west from Lafayette. Tice Creek comes, not Tice Creek, I'm sorry. And Tice Creek joins it. Tice Creek is in Rossmore. That's why you have the Friends of Tice Creek, because it's a Rossmore organization. San Ramon Creek comes in from the south, basically along 680 to some extent. They merge. Art, I know you know the answers. Where do they merge? I'll no, but that's a good answer. The Las Trampas Creek and San Ramon Creek merge underneath the fountain at where Il Fornaio is. That's at Liberty Bell Plaza. And if you go there, you'll see 2 different colors of pavers. And that was really an artist's attempt to depict the 2 creeks flowing in and actually the start of Walnut Creek. And so, so the next time you go down that area to Broadway Plaza, take a look at the pavers. It's kind of fun. And think what's down 30 feet below you. So why do a restoration plan?
Bob, can I ask a question?
Sure.
On your list, you showed both the Ignacio Canal and the Contra Costa Canal, which are man-made features and cemented. I'm curious.
They're waterways.
Okay.
So we're anything that is above, that is visible on the ground, where the creeks sort of, start and then stop, that shows a culverted section that you can no longer see as a creek. That was a good question. Thank you. So I'm going to have to look over here because I can't see that far over there. So why do we do a restoration plan? You really, you want to create a community-supported group, and that's what we're kind of doing. We're doing a lot of outreach to groups like this, but also to groups like East Bay Regional Park District and East Bay Mud, and then some other groups as well. It gives us a chance to take a look at the projects. We presently have about 90 restoration projects in the watershed. The watershed is 146 square miles in size, and that basically is just really in what I'll call the middle part of the watershed. We like to support and encourage the efforts of local agencies. That actually is a little more problematic than it may sound, because virtually all of the cities and towns, with a couple exceptions, don't want to have anything to do with their creeks because it's a maintenance issue, there's some liability issues, and so they just, like most of them have fenced the creeks in their area we have as well. But we really want to, as part of this process, engage them and encourage them to realize that restoring the creeks to good health is something that's important for the community to do. I believe this plan that we're doing is going to guide restoration efforts for the next 20 to 30 years. I believe it's going to be transformational in that effect. I also hope that it's going to be aspirational, that it's going to encourage people to say, yes, I want to be involved and want to support restoration of our creeks. So what's next? We're going to continue to look for more restoration sites. We'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to continue to work with groups that we haven't yet worked with to try and get them to be involved in restoring the health of our watershed. And we're going to prepare by December of this year. I should back up and explain that for a second. We got a $300,000 grant from the Federal Bureau of Reclamation to do this plan, with the requirement that, first of all, we finish it by December of this year, and then we're going to use about half the money to take the three of the ideas that are restoration ideas that are in the restoration tracker and get them designed to a point that somebody can come in and say, hey, this is a good idea, I want to fund it. Sometimes it gets funded by different things, but it really helps to have something designed and not a final design, but so where are some of the potential restoration projects in Walnut Creek? And this will be a bit of a mix. This is Heather Farm Park. About 3-4 years ago, the city contracted to do this study. There's a lot of restoration opportunities here. I think what is really, for your purposes, from my perspective, the most important is that you can create a nice little 1-mile walk and interpretation by these creeks, but you first of all have to fix the creeks, because right now they're in varying stages and not very good. But this is would be a major effort by itself, or you could separate it into little pieces. We'll see something a little bit later about one of these. So one of the other things we want to do is, this slide is a little bit out of place, I'm sorry about that, but I'll go through this, because these pictures, with one exception, are all taken from places within the city of Walnut Creek. On the far left is something called English ivy. That is a picture in Rudgear Park. English ivy is invasive. By saying it's invasive means it's non-native, and it excludes other flora from the habitat. And it also, which we found out and we'll see a slide on it later, by removing some of the English ivy from an area of Civic Park, together with some planting of native plants that was done by the native plant group in the senior club, they tell me that they've seen butterflies there that they've never seen there before, because what they've said is that the English ivy really just prevents the butterflies from laying their eggs in the oak trees, because they know that the larva won't survive, and there's no food there because the English ivy doesn't provide food. The picture in the center part is from Heather Farm Park, and that's what's called Himalaya blackberry. It is also, you can see, I remember it from about 10 years ago when it was just a small little stand, and it just keeps growing and growing. I think the one on the right is also Himalaya blackberry, but it's a close-up. And the one on the bottom left is English ivy close-up. You have a Mexican fan palm, also from Heather Farm Park, but you've got some really big ones in both Civic Park and in Heather Farm Park that, from my standpoint, actually affect the flow of water. And then what we really got focused on, let me do it this way, is something called Arundodonax. It's also known as giant reed. It can grow, whoops, why don't you get to it? It can grow 4 inches a day and up to 25 to 30 feet tall. And it completely excludes anything within it. It's both a flood risk and a fire risk. And if you walk along the creek walk in Civic Park and look across the way to the private land, you will see an abundance of giant reed is what it's called. So kind of wanted to show this to say, hey, you know what native plants do is they provide habitat for native species. I talked earlier about the butterflies, and that's Mylida crescent butterfly. You can see a willow flycatcher The other two photos are not from Walnut Creek, but the interesting thing about the beaver picture at Grayson Creek is we have a picture of a beaver in Walnut Creek from about a month ago. And it's really kind of neat to see. I'm not sure that everybody enjoys that fact, but it is true. All right, we got some restoration opportunities that are coming forward. Hazard Pond. Hazard Pond is at the very south end of Shell Ridge, very close to Livorno Road. The easiest way to access is probably going to the Livorno Road staging area. The left shows a pre-grazing summer picture of Hazard Pond. You can see from the green that this is done around, let's just say, the end of July. There's water there. There's moisture there. The plants are doing okay. If you look closely, you can see the cattle on the right side and see what impact the cattle had on the vegetation. It basically stripped it out. So we were contacted by a company that needed some what's called off-site mitigation. In other words, what the regulatory agencies like is for any company that's impacting a part of a riparian area, they want them to do all of the restoration on site. And the city had this experience recently with the aquatic center as well. In this case, the company couldn't do all of the restoration on site, and so they came to us and said, can you find something? And we worked with the city, with Mike and with Corey. We found a spot at Hazard Pond. Hazard Pond has some flow of water into it, not quite year-round, but there's a little flow underground. So we're going to go in there. We've got a chunk of money. We're going to go in there. We're giving some money to the city to build about an acre of fencing to protect that from grazing. And then we're going to be planting 30 trees, 50 shrubs, and over 1,000 grass or forage plugs this year. So if you go back there next year, this will look completely different. It'll be something that will be really valuable and attractive for wildlife that might be using the area. This is called a seasonal wetland area, and the county has determined that seasonal wetlands are scarce in central Contra Costa County. This is Tice Creek in Rossmore. We have here today Don McGregor, who leads the Friends of Tice Creek, and we're trying to persuade what is called Rossmore Walnut Creek to take more of a holistic view of what happens here. Literally what happens here is that there's a bridge or something like that constricts the flow, and then really immediately downstream it pooches out and it causes the erosion that you see there. There's significant amount, there's about 5 of these, and it's a major effort to try and persuade the powers that be that this is something that really kind of needs to be done. And we hope we're successful. Let me see. Okay. Mike has been down here. This is, if you go on to Rudger Road and you look immediately to the north, you see that's where the concrete channel, the San Ramon bypass, begins. What those 2 grates represent is an opportunity for water to flow into the historic channel of San Ramon Creek and then into underneath Broadway Plaza and into Walnut Creek. This has been phenomenally successful at dealing with high flows and reducing flooding in downtown Walnut Creek. What it wasn't designed to do very well was handle the low summer flows. And so what you see here, what we try to do here is create a cofferdam so to cause the water to go into the historic channel, but it's not working. And the flood control district would like to see a permanent solution. Apparently there may even be some city land right there, and they'd kind of like to work with the city and see if it can't figure out a permanent solution, because what happens with the water going down the concrete channel is it warms up. It's bad for fish. It's bad for just about everything. It gets more algae. If you can direct that water into the shaded, natural creek concourse, you can actually have some significant benefits for wildlife. It'd be a long time before it'd be any benefit for fish, but and then it would flow out of Civic Park just east of the, what I call the Civic Park Bridge. Some people call the Orange Bridge. This is drop structure number 2. Now, the next 2 slides are not in the city of Walnut Creek, but they are on Walnut Creek. This particular structure If you're driving north on Bancroft Road, you cross over a bridge, that's where the structure is. This is also where the two young men died about 10, 12 years ago, because you just can't survive there. And this is one of the structures that we're going to have to figure a way to provide for both fish passage and fish survival. This is drop structure number 1. I want to particularly focus on that little critter. Most people don't realize that actually salmon used to migrate up Walnut Creek, and this and drop 2 completely barred that upward migration. Working with the Flood Control District, at our request, they've sent a letter to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers asking them to study alternatives for fish passage at this particular site. So we're hopeful we'll see something, but it's really important from my perspective to highlight that this barrier is actually preventing fish from continuing to pursue their migration upstream and their lifelong, soon to be very short life journey. Are there other opportunities? Yes, I'm not showing them, but there's some that we don't know about. And so one of the purposes of coming to groups like this and knowing that some of us are being watched is to see if people can say, hey, I know of this area. There's a fair number of sites on private land, and that's a whole nother category. It's been really great working with the city on some sites in Shell Ridge and in Civic Park, but it's much more challenging to work with private landowners. So this particular site is Shell Ridge. It's a photo of Deer Lake, and it's one of my favorite photos of Deer Lake, but there's certainly going to be other opportunities to do this. So this photo was taken by a member of the Friends of Pleasant Hill Creeks, but it was taken in what's called a natural pond in Heather Farm Park. And I like to kind of close with this one because, you know, we're just taking off, and just join us on that flight. And it's an upward aspirational objective that we have. So thank you so much for letting me talk to you and show you a few slides and show you a little bit of what we're trying to do with the Walnut Creek watershed and restoring our watershed.
Thank you. Commissioners, any comments, questions for the speaker?
I have a couple questions.
Please return to the podium.
Yeah.
Hi, Brent.
Hi. So one of them is you mentioned that you've partnered with entities that need mitigation, and you sort of said, as an aside, Walnut, that, you know, the Heather Farm project for the aquatic center and the community center, and they definitely need mitigation. And I don't know, either you or Mike could remind us, are we doing creek projects as part of the mitigation for that? Obviously, we're replacing trees and things like that, but are we doing any restoration of the creek or the natural pond?
My understanding is most of the mitigation that was required by the water agencies was to replace, I'm going to say 30,000 square feet of water, surface water, which the city did do by expanding the natural pond in a way that was pretty nice. From my perspective, I wish they had dredged it too, so that it would be cooler water, better for fish and all that. But Mike can go into detail about how it is to work with the regulatory agencies on things like that, and sometimes money gets in the way. But this provides another opportunity. The city has, I think, 2 bridges it's going to be trying to replace over the next X number of years, and that's actually part of the purpose of this, so that people who, you know, the projects that we've done in the city of Walnut Creek and Civic Park have been the result of offsite mitigation money from the city of Concord for a bridge replacement project, and from the county for our Marsh Drive bridge replacement project. And so, you know, we are likely to see more funds there, and the city, my perspective, now knows it has some restoration sites that it can go to and suggest and would actually improve the restoration sites in the city of Walnut Creek.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah,
Can I just add to that?
of course.
So there was a study that Bob referenced earlier where he showed an image of the 5 different drainage channels that we decided to name. They aren't official names. We just decided for communication's sake. That study came out of this body. one of the commissioners recommended that we spend $50,000. Didn't cost that much, but put some money aside to do an analysis, do a riparian study, which was further approved by council. And that's how we got to this study. Is there several opportunities in Heather Farm? Absolutely. And when we go through the capital budget, this upcoming, January, February, March, that'll certainly be projects that we discuss. Yeah.
There's
you.
further opportunities in Civic Park and Red Deer Park and maybe a couple other places that I don't know about, but thank you for the
And I
question.
have another question as well. So the county, I believe, was leading it, maybe flood control, was doing had a pretty major planning effort for the part, where it actually drains into the bay or the river. I guess it's San Joaquin River there. What is the status of that?
Are you talking about their watershed plan?
Yeah.
Just as a technical matter, I don't use the word drain. I use the word flow. And when you think about it, to me, a drain is something I put Drano in. And I think there's a category of specialists that like to describe these as drainages and drains, because from my perspective, my words, it kind of de-emphasizes it, makes it seem like it's not really a creek, it's not really flowing, and yet if you bring kids over there, they don't know whether it's a creek or they just see the flowing water, and they certainly don't want to teach them to start using the word drain. But that's me. You can continue to use the word drain. I know Mike will continue to use the word drain because he works with engineers and that's how they think, and that's fine. The County Flood Control District is is doing a large process to create a watershed plan for the entire Walnut Creek watershed. They started that partly because of what we were doing, that we wanted to do a restoration plan, and so they decided they needed to do it, and there'd be the community support to do it, and I think there will be. Their plan is going to be a bit different in a couple of respects. Right now, they've entered into a contract to do what's called a historical ecology study, but that's a 3-year study. And, they're going to be doing a couple things on their plan, but that plan is probably 5 to 8 years out, and some may say it's longer than that. Ours is a restoration plan. It's not going to be anti-science, but there's not going to be scientific studies under each one of them. It's going to be more aspirational. It's going to say, hey, we have these opportunities. We really do want to restore our community health, our watershed health, and this is how we do it. We have a coordinating committee that we meet every 2 months with the flood control district to make sure that we're sort of understanding what each is doing. We're a little bit different. I mean, they've written the letter on, using Drop 1 as an example, they've written a letter to the Corps of Engineers. We have more of an advocacy role with regard to that. We really want to be in a position where that structure is no longer a barrier to fish passage and fish migration for the salmon going upstream. So, their watershed plan is probably going to focus a bit more on their facilities, because they've got a lot of facilities, and there's a lot of concrete structures in all of our creeks in this watershed, and they're going to look at the ones that are theirs, but not at there's some like were built like SCS before it became Natural Resources Conservation System, back in the 40s and 50s before. So there's a connection because it's both the Walnut Creek watershed, but they're really quite different in terms of their function, in terms of how long it will take for the flood control district to complete its plan. But they're making progress.
Thank you.
I don't give short answers to questions. Sorry about that. And thank you again.
Bob, thank you very much for coming back to us again and talking about watershed. And I would encourage you to share with us when your project is done, that you're working towards the plan that is aspirational for a good 20 or 30 years, because there's so much work to be done, and if at all possible, we can hear you before we go into the capital process and see if we can put some dollars towards some of those projects.
I don't know when I remember when we used to do it historically, and so the capital budget for this next cycle, I think, is for beginning the fiscal year in July is done. So you're kind of talking about the capital budget cycle for the next cycle. And we'll be done in December. And as you know, I just don't like to talk about watersheds, but I'll be glad to come back. And thank you for that. I will talk with Mike about coming back, and because we believe that there's a lot of opportunity, and so we'd love it to see some money allocated to it. So thank you.
Bob, I have a question about all the organizations, Friends of the Creek and Lafayette, I think Creek organization, committee.
Lafayette Creeks Committee.
Yeah, Creek Committee. I'm interested in if there's any kind of youth involvement in these efforts, learning about the watershed, learning about, our local ecology, environment, that piece.
The short answer is yes, but it varies a little bit. Friends of San Ramon Creek tend to be involve more people that are 50 plus. Friends of Concord Creeks involves a lot of people who are very young, and they go out and do things. In the city of Walnut Creek, we have done 3 or 4 projects, not just watershed restoration, but in Deer Lake is a project that I kind of lead, and it's a tree planting project for the most part. And we regularly involve and include youth groups, and I've had one come out a couple weeks ago to do what I call to water the young oak and buckeye trees, because for the first couple of years they need some of that supplemental water. So we do try to engage them. It's always a challenge because when they've got sports on Saturdays, they're busy Monday through Friday, and you got to have a parent come along with them. And but I like to work with youth groups, even if they just come out once, because I think they learn something from that. And even if it's I never want to go out there again, they still learn something, and they learn something about what we're doing and what we're trying to do. And maybe for some of these trees, and some of them have planted acorns and buckeye seeds, and they now see, they can come back 10 years later and see that the tree is 10, 15 feet tall and say, hey, I had something to do with that, which is a really neat feeling. So thank you for the question.
Thank you. All right, I now open the item for public comment. Please step forward to the podium and complete a speaker card available in the corner of the entrance doorway. Any public comments? Okay, having none, we will move to the and any additional discussion? Okay, and we don't have a motion for this. All right, thanks, Bob. All right, the next item on agenda is presentation by Boundary Oak Golf Course. I invite Tim Roberts with the City of Walnut Creek forward to present the presentation.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tim Roberts, Arts and Recreation. I am your on-staff, on-property liaison for the City of Walnut Creek with our operator, Corsco. Corsco runs, owns, leases, operates almost about 50 courses up and down the western United States out of Petaluma. I've been here since 2019, fall of 2019. I sent over a little bit of commentary, so if anything, if there's a question, I'll keep my eyes up. Just go ahead and interrupt me, but jump into it. We'll go over some of the financial stuff, not really deep diving into numbers, but more just an overview of how we're doing and how healthy the operation is. Around the clubhouse, some of the changes, golf operations, lots of exciting stuff going on up there with our new driving range and practice facility. Our food and beverage team is really, really solid right now. And then, of course, we've got a living, breathing, 160-acre property up there that butts up against the open space. So we've got a lot of responsibility, in no particular order, is guest experience, being good stewards of the property, and running a viable business for the City of Walnut Creek. I'm kind of doing this as a fiscal year 24, 25, 25, 26 kind of wrap up. The years kind of mirror each other, but I didn't get a chance to come here last year. So we did outperform our budget again this year, which includes taking care of any debt servicing and salaries, public work costs up there, and still contributing to our reserves. So we've got 2 reserve accounts. One is operations, and the other one is equipment. And, we've got, as you know, equipment around here is very expensive. So we've got two very healthy asset accounts, reserve accounts. Around the clubhouse, this is Brad. Brad's our director of golf. He's also a PGA pro. We got Brad a couple of years ago, and as you can see in the background, really been a transformative last few years with the clubhouse. Brad was awarded the NCPGA Merchandiser of the Year. It's kind of a big deal in the industry. So we moved to a real-time survey on the guest experience, so people can come right up. We've got sandwich boards located around the property. They can come up, hit a QR code, give us a real-time feedback. We do survey guests and events and anybody who comes to the property for anything official, whether it's a Thursday night dinner. We do a lot of surveys. Surveys right now are really strong. I think I'll touch base with that in a little bit. And then part of what we do up there is we also, we support the community. We've got a lot of nonprofits through there. Every year we usually pick a charity in the Bay Area locally that we can support. This year was the East Bay Crisis Nursery. So for about a month, we did a diaper and wipes and baby supplies in exchange for gift cards for the driving range. And then our holiday gala this year was fully benefiting them. And that's something on staff that I collectively do with them as well. We go out, we get sponsors, we sell tickets. I think we had 200 people there this year, and we raised about $30,000 that goes to the Bay Area Crisis Nursery. Again, shows a good partnership between us and our operator, Corsco. They're into what we're into, and they help us facilitate it. Golf operations. So one of what you see there is an aerification machine, and that's one of our fairways. I believe that's number 7. We're one of the few courses that from our enterprise fund, part of our job is to reinvest into the property, which obviously takes care of the property, good stewards, guest experience. What you're seeing there is a sand application to the fairway that we do twice a year, once in the fall, once in the spring. To my knowledge, I don't know of another muni course that does that around here. It keeps the turf healthy. It keeps the dirt really healthy. It avoids diseases, levels out the playing field, and just really, when you dig up our dirt out there, it's some really good looking dirt. Surveys that we pulled last week, we pulled our most recent, little over 500 surveys. Guest experience overall, 4.5 stars out of 5. That does include our new practice facility with the driving range and 7,000 square foot putting green. One of the programs that we're really proud that we have up there is the PGA Hope program, which is with the VA, and we have local veterans come out and we do golf clinics once a week for 7-week sessions. We end with a 9-hole on-course experience, and then we have a dinner for them. And they don't pay for anything. We get the coaches. We set it up for them. They love it. It's getting more and more popular. We've seen people come back 2 and 3 times, and then we're seeing those veterans come out to the course and be participants in the course as well. Tree management, we've got, on 160 acres, I've got just over still about 1,300 trees. So tree mitigation, having a 3-year tree plan, 5-year tree plan, winter comes, this falls down. So that is an ongoing process of managing the trees in good health. Obviously, again, being good stewards of the property, mitigating any fuel on the ground. We've got a lot of eucalyptus up there, so we do a pretty good job, but we've got a lot of trees out there. The agronomy program, so collectively Corsco has a head agronomist, so anything that we're having trouble with environmentally, whether it's a snow mold or a black mold on the greens, anything that we're having trouble with, we can go to Gary, and he's the head agronomist with the Corsco, and he comes out and says, we'll do this treatment, we'll do that treatment. So again, good stewards of the property. Future of going green, I know you guys have probably heard with the backpack blowers and the line trimmers. We've already eliminated the backpack blowers. We did get a whole new set of backpack blowers. They are quieter. Yes, they don't have emissions. Obviously, that technology is getting better and better, but we're on board with that and have hung up all our backpack blowers. Food and beverage, we've got a full service retail food and beverage program, tap house downstairs. It's got a full bar, great breakfast, great lunch. We get a lot of non-golfer engagement up there. We've got obviously plenty of parking. Upstairs, weddings, funeral, bar mitzvahs, celebrations of life. So we've got a really great sales team up there. We use a lot of social media, use Salesforce for our tracking. So it's about 60-40 on the revenue, 60 of it being golf operations and merchandise. But we do a lot of weddings and a lot of events up there all year round. Again, part of what our strategy is not just golf. This is a community property. So we have a lot of events throughout the year that we want the non-golfer to come up. We want the non-golfer to come up and experience the property, whether that's third Thursday night dinners, lunch specials, the gala, things like that. Yelp, if you look at our Yelp and survey reviews right now, really strong. Outdoors, again, 160 acres, and we've got every bit of wildlife you can think of out there. So right here is Tom and Bernadette, or Tom and Bernadette, Georgia, thank you. There are Bluebird box advocates. So those two collectively either rebuilt or we reinstalled about 14 Bluebird boxes on the property. And I have Rebecca Valdez out every Friday. We call her Becky Birds. She comes and we both check the Bluebird boxes. We're tracking eggs, we're tracking hatches. We had a PhD candidate out about a month ago doing blood samples on the birds, checking their health. So we are an Audubon property. The Raptor Relocation Program, so we work with a few of the airports. So your raptors are your birds of prey, your big eagles and whatnot. They relocate them from a couple of different airports and we release them on our property. So again, we open up to the open space and that's for a bird of prey up there, that's like a smorgasbord. We did have a golden eagle here a couple months ago that stuck around for a few months. Plenty of wildlife, turkey, ducks, mud hens, pigs, cats, everything you can, coyotes. So we've got a lot of activity up there. Pigs this year, I think across town and all the way down into San Ramon was a big year for pig damage. They're coming down to a very wet and well-manicured property, searching for food. So we're constantly fixing the fence line, and we do have a service that comes out and helps us with our mitigating the pig problem, but this was an especially bad year. Golf trends, golf and food and beverage trends. Golf trends are up. Golf trends, our numbers are up. We keep pumping bigger numbers every year. We're probably the second busiest golf course in the Bay Area. We do about 76,000, 78,000 rounds a year. Up on the range, I think by the end of June, we'll probably be in the neighborhood of selling about 90,000 buckets of balls, not to mention the people that just come up and practice their putting, their chipping, come up, have a cocktail or a soda, and just enjoy the view. If you haven't been up to the new driving range, we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. 2 beautiful plazas, lights, the softscape has grown in now. So it's a great place to just come up, get a sandwich, you can go to the tap house. I do have a food trailer up there. We'll be working towards some permanent food and beverage in the future. But we get, again, that's a lot of our non-golfer engagement up there. Future improvement of reserves. Again, our reserves are healthy. We'll continue to contribute to both reserves. We have a little bit of debt service. The debt service from the tap house that we did 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I believe we've got 3 payments left. That'll phase out in February of 2028, which is a pretty healthy chunk of money that will be able to go towards reserves again or buying down our other debt service. One of the things we're looking towards in the future for the driving range is phase 3A, 3B, which we want to get a permanent food container up there, a Connex box that is commercially licensed so we can do cooking and cleaning up there. As part of the construction from the driving range, we did plumb sewage because we don't have any restrooms up there, although I am using a nicer porta potty up there just temporarily. So we did plumb for the sewage from the new driving range to the upper parking lot, and then in the future, we're looking to propose a permanent box and connecting that sewer all the way down to Valley Vista, so we don't have people going back to the clubhouse or down the hill to the tap house. You know, some of our older guests, it's a little bit of a walk down the hill and back up the hill. So I think everyone's really looking forward to that. We're in the process of getting the shade structure done, which is going to cover about 18 stalls of the 36. So that's basically phase 2B. And we are really busy up there. It's, you know, in the weekends, it's tough to get a stall. We're doing programming now for corporate events, birthday events. Public Works has been up there. A few other companies have come, rent 5 stalls. We'll do a food and beverage package for them. So now that we've kind of hit our stride, we're looking to do more programming like that. And I think that's questions.
Any questions, comments from the commissioners?
You mentioned 1,300 trees, but you also said you had a lot of eucalyptus up there. So
Yeah.
with water being a concern and eucalyptus being a really high fire kind of tree, is part of your program to replant trees with kind of more native species?
It depends on where the tree is on the property as far as aesthetics or playability from the course. If you're familiar with like the western side of our property, we're just going to continue as the budget allows to just mitigate those trees. I have an arborist come out at least once or twice a year. I've had Contra Costa Fire Department out there giving me advice on anything that he might see issues with, offering his services with potential crews. But yes, if we replant, it's not going to be, I guarantee it's not going to be a eucalyptus. But yeah, depending on where the tree is that we took out, the golf trend now, you can look at a lot of courses. A lot of people are spending a lot of money to take a lot of trees out and make their courses more playable and more open. Richmond Country Club, for example, just did a $3 million tree removal, and it really opened up the playability of the course, the health of the course. You know, when you get around, you know, you've got 100 eucalyptus trees, the composition of that soil is really different than what the composition of the soil is on the other side of the course. So it's hard to grow, but yeah, I have replaced with sycamores and other, you know, other native stuff.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I have a few questions for you. Thanks, Tim, for coming tonight. You know, 6 months ago, if I'd heard, if you had been here, I think we would have gotten maybe a little bit different story about what was going on in Boundary Oak. Not the new driving range, but the condition of the course. And some of that was the pig damage, and some of it was just a general downturn in the quality of maintenance there on the course. But seems to have turned around from what I hear, and I have a number of golfing friends. But there are some issues that still resonate with them, and I'm curious about the types of comments you might get that would be considered constructive comments where, you know, you talked about the instant surveys and stuff. What are some of the criticisms that you get from some of the golfers?
Depending on the time of the year, you know, I've come to learn in the last 5 years that this is a living, breathing organism that may look one way after a rainstorm and 2 weeks of heat. And the thing that really dries us out is wind. And we're right up that hill, you know, that wind comes whipping up and really dries us out. So I would say probably the most common is water. You know, it looks dry, it looks dry. Well, we're plugging away. We put a lot of water out there. You know, we're putting up sometimes up to 500,000 gallons a night out there. So we pull from the canal at a grandfathered rate into the #1 pond. That's mostly it. Constructive criticism, sometimes the greens can be fast. You know, the greens are 55 years old, and depending on the way the ground has settled on a few of the greens, they can be tougher. So they want us to slow the greens down, and we'll do that. Depending on if we roll or mow or not roll and not mow or one or the other. Verticut, adding sand, top dressing. But that's usually it. Is the greens are great, but they're really fast. It is the defense of the course, though. It's a pretty wide open course, but the greens, from a golfer's perspective, are the defense of the course.
What about, you know, common things of just operational type stuff and not the course per se? Any comments about lack of marshals, things like that?
I have had conversations with our operator that having the marshals more vocal. And we do retrain the marshals, whoever it might be, about every 6 months. And they do have to go out there. They do have to keep the kids moving. You know, this time of year up until school's out, these last 2 months, from 3 o'clock to 4:30, we've got a ton of students out there, you know, from the junior highs and the high school. So kind of keeping them wrangled and on point sometimes can be a challenge to our retail golfers. But yeah, marshaling the course is something that it's, you know, needs reminding every once in a while.
Okay. Also wanted to ask a little bit about the the debt that you have. You said the tap house, final payments in the next couple of years complete that. But you didn't specifically say anything about, I think, the debt on the driving range.
We did take a loan for, so the tap house loan will phase out in 3 more payments. We make 3 annual or biannual payments of, I believe it's 382,000. So that'll cycle off in 2028. We did take a loan from the general fund. We did take a loan from the general fund for the driving range. It's a 15-year loan, 2.75%, and depending on phase 3, reserves, big year, bad year, we could get aggressive on that depending on how, leadership wants us to deal with it.
What was the amount on that?
I think it's about 4.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
I have a
Oh, go ahead.
So you mentioned water,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a heck of a lot of water. So
Can be.
you get all of it from the Ignacio Canal?
We do.
Really?
We pulled, on the 14th hole, we have a holding tank down there. We pump it in to a holding tank. That tank goes all the way through the course up to the number 1 pond. So the pond you see outside the building with the fountain, that's our main irrigation pond. Our other ponds are purely aesthetics, so we can let them come and go as seasonally as we like, depending on water usage. The canal is shut off from December 1 until April 1st. Not a heavy watering season, but if we do need water, and we usually do at some point, we have a hydrant on property. The Contra Costa Water District gives us a meter. We run that directly from the hydrant by the driving range underground into the number 1 pond.
Okay. And then the new driving range took water conservation into account, as I recall from earlier discussions. Was it the species of grass? Is it a less water?
Yeah, it's a warm weather grass. It's a South American Bermuda grass, so it's a lot more water friendly than your bent and your cool season grasses. So it's not quite kikuyu, but it's a longer, stringier, hardier, more durable grass that takes way less water than a Bermuda, a cold season grass
Right.
that you might have in your lawn.
Right. Well, I remember that discussion when you or someone was here discussing
Yep.
that project. So
Yep.
I'm glad you were able to do that.
Yeah.
And then finally, I really want to commend you for the veterans program. I think that's wonderful. Do you do it with a specific veteran support group, or?
There's a VA office out of Benicia that we work with, and then it's also through where they communicate to their database, but it's through the Professional Golfers Association.
Oh, okay.
So it's through the PGA of America, and so we work with the local one, and it's a lot of fun. And
It
we have
sounds really great.
yeah, men and women of all ages, from all ages, come out, and they're really into it, and it's a lot of fun. And we shut the putting green down for them. We shut 6 stalls down for them. And they have their own area that they can be comfortable, from beginners to some pretty good golfers. So we break them up usually in 3 groups based on skill. And, it's Brad, it's me, it's Mike, it's Coach Dave DeLong, who runs our golf academy up there. And we have a few other volunteers that come out as well.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sure.
So I also appreciate hearing about the Veterans Golf Program. My 2 children learned how to play golf at the First Tee program at Boundary Oak. Now they're both playing. They're college students. They're continuing to play.
That's awesome.
So I really appreciate the programs that you run there. So is the youth program still programming continuing?
Yeah, we have multiple programs for the youth. Obviously, we have First Tee. We're one of their home courses. And we do have a regular group out there, and that's really very, very strong. We have Dave DeLong's Golf Academy, where he does some youth programs, a lot of first-time golf programs. And he contracts with us through Arts and Recreation. So we run our golf camps through Dave and contract with him. And we get a lot of kids up there.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my other question is, when is the Phase 2B, the shade structures, going to complete?
We're in the process of that right now.
Okay.
It's been a little bit of back and forth on design and how we want to approach this. And, we're getting pretty close.
Like completion or construction?
Design approval, a lot of the legwork and the engineering's already been done that I've been doing for months and months. We just decided to take just a little different look at it. So once we come up with a defined material, we got an RFP, the general contractor, and then depending on their timing, it's going to be about a 2-week install, but it's going to be a little bit. We hit a few snags and we just kind of went back to the drawing board.
Like summer, you think, or summer?
I'm thinking it'd be probably closer to the end of 2026.
Okay, all right, great. My last question is about the 2 reserve accounts.
Yes.
What's the balance for the operation and the equipment?
Operations about high 800,000s and equipment is in about low 900. So I've got about 1.75 between both the accounts. Very healthy.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commissioners and comments? Okay, hearing none, we're going to open for the public comment. Please step forward to the podium. Please also complete a speaker card. Cards are available on the counter near the entry doorway. Once at the podium, please introduce yourself and city of residence for the record. Consistent with city policies related to public comments, each speaker will have 2 minutes to make your remarks. Written comments submitted, if any, have been posted to the city website for public review and are included in the meeting record, but will not be separately read into the record.
I just have a question. Is there a question and answer period, or do you want to do public comment?
Public comment.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Weed. I'm a resident of Walnut Creek, and I didn't plan to say this, but, you know, I met with Tim Roberts up at Boundary Oaks on this issue that I'm going to talk about, and Tim is a great guy. He's extremely knowledgeable, and I think our golf course is in great hands. I grew up playing golf and working at the driving range at Boundary Oaks, so, and personally, I think to the question about the kind of shape it's in, I think it's in great shape. The greens are fast, but I think they're fair, and, you know, everybody has kind of their own view about it. But the only thing I do wish Tim could do, address for me is my slice off the tee. It's just, you know, it's just wicked. Okay, so I've eaten into too much of my time. So since the reopening of the driving range itself, there's been significant light spill into the Lime Ridge open space from the lights that are designed to facilitate the top tracer range system. I can't find in the record that that was evaluated for its environmental impacts by our city. Other cities who have similar projects like Burlingame and San Diego did so by way of example. There are well-documented effects on the wild ecosystem. Several decades of research shows that artificial light at night interrupts the daily and seasonal rhythms that govern the timing of breeding, nesting, migration, hunting, foraging, and even pollination. The impacts are overwhelmingly negative, which is kind of intuitive when you think about it. Dr. Travis Longcore, professor of environmental science at UCLA, has studied this for decades, and he says ecosystems are very complex. When artificial light alters light-dark cycles and in turn circadian rhythms, the whole choreography of biological life is jeopardized. So I'm making 2 requests. One is that we do a photometric study similar to what we did for the Tice Valley Light Project, and number 2, that we do a biological assessment of the impacts on the open space wildlife up in Lime Ridge that's adjacent to it. So I'm a golfer, as I said. I'm not here to try to advocate for shutting down the lights, but I am proposing that we make a collaborative effort among all the stakeholders to ensure that we find harmony between protecting and preserving our critical open space and also using it in a way that's responsible. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Hudson, and I just want to support the last speaker. I think Walnut Creek open space and Lime Ridge were set aside to preserve the natural environment with minimal low impact from human activity. The idea was that nature could thrive And as our population has grown and our recreational desires increased, we are making it harder and harder for nature to thrive, and in some cases, harder to even survive. So science is pointing out and quantifying how much we need nature for a whole lot of reasons. And so I'm just asking you to please find a solution to the lights that are shining in Lime Ridge that is not disruptive to the wildlife and even the plants that depend on the night. Thank you.
Any other public commenters? Okay.
So if you would like to take 2 minutes and share your public comment, now would be the time. There's not a question and answer period, but we do have a 2-minute comment period.
Okay, you did say that on the presentation with the question and answer for the public. But it's fine, I'll take my 2 minutes. Thank you, Tim, for the presentation on Boundary Oak Golf Course. It's great. I also know Tim. I wanted to ask about the Autobahn. You're part of the Autobahn Cooperative Sanctuary Certification, which is great. And a lot of people are interested in the open space and the environment since it's right there. Since you mentioned a lot of wildlife, is there birds, those types of things? Do you have a written inventory of the birds or the mammals that, that are,
Barbara, can you speak into
that
the
use
mic?
the property?
Yeah.
Should I ask all my questions and then let him answer? Because I have 2 more.
Please make your comments then.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so just ask all the questions. Okay, then the other thing was, there is an environmental document. It's called, like I said, it's being certified as part of the cooperative, Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary certification. And they state in there that 80% of the trees, shrubs, and flowers should be used that are indigenous to the native plant community on other areas of the property other than the turf. It can't be done on the turf. So I have a question about that. With all the new landscaping that was put in for the driving range, was any of that native plants? And then the last question I had is, from the documentation I could see, it looks like the driving range was only open till about 7:30 prior to the renovation, and now it's open till 9 p.m. So I just wanted to ask, I've asked that question before, but just confirm that it hasn't been extended for the new driving range. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you, Tim, would you like to respond to? Yeah.
Just off the top, Barbara, you had a question about inventory of wildlife? I wouldn't say I have a written inventory of wildlife. I mean, I could run down everything, different wildlife that we have on property, but if you're talking numerically or, I'm not.
Hey, excuse me just for a second. So we don't have a question and answer period.
Okay.
If Barbara, if you want to get more specific and you need additional information, Tim, Barbara can send you an email.
Absolutely.
And we can do that
Yep.
offline.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
So no more additional public comments? Discussion among the commissioners? Do we have any recommendation? Follow-up action? No.
Yeah, so there's no, this is just basically a report out, so there's no action that needs to be taken. But you could, if you have additional comments, you're more than welcome to share those.
All right.
I have a question, I think, for you, Mike, which is the CEQA that was done for that did not do a light study. That's an accurate statement.
That's correct. The lights that,
And what was the rationale for not doing that?
Yeah, so the lights, so the facility's always had lights. The lights have been within the range for at least 20-plus years, I'm sure longer than that. And so this was more of a replacement like for like, and it was considered maintenance. It was not considered as part of the project and was not evaluated through CEQA.
Okay, and the lights are similar enough that that's the case, or it sounds like, I'm not really independently knowledgeable about this, but it sounds like maybe they're a different style of light or a different
so-
type of light.
The previous lights were more, and I'm not a light expert either, I would refer to them as more older stadium lights. The high-pressure sodium lights that were pretty large, round, so, light going in all different directions. I think the luminaire count was 12, and I could have that number wrong, but the luminaire count between the high-pressure sodium and the new LEDs are almost the same. And these lights are a little bit more directional because they have basically directional covers on top of those, as opposed to the older stadium lights. So this was considered a maintenance. The high-pressure sodium, as we all know, are challenging to get and being phased out. And this was an opportunity to make that maintenance improvement.
And then, sort of in a related way, is there an opportunity to do some sort of study of potential wildlife effects in the perimeter area? Could our staff, our open space staff, take something like that on, or I don't know what your thoughts are on that?
So we'll evaluate that at a staff level, and follow up with Mr. Weed, and then I can bring back an update during staff updates at our next meeting.
That'd be great, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that we have the two, the photometric study and the biological assessment, if we can bring back for an update at the next pros meeting, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll decide. I mean, these are, obviously recommendations
Right.
from the public.
Yeah.
These are staff decisions. We'll talk to, Tim and I will talk to upper management, or Tim will talk to upper management, and we'll follow up on our decision
Great.
at the next meeting, yeah.
And Mike, can you comment about the hours of the driving range? And did they change when the new lights came?
Yeah, it'd probably be best that Mr. Robert responds to that. Thank you.
Yeah, historically, the range has been open till, now, keep in mind seasonal, in the middle of winter and whatnot. The range has been open to 9 o'clock before. It has opened, from historical context, as a resident and growing up really close by and being around for the last 30, 40, 100 years, the range used to be open until 10 o'clock. So we didn't increase the hours or lengthen any hours. In all honesty, before, if you were up there before in the old driving range and the lights, it's a lot more attractive now, and we are getting more play up there. But no, we did not extend the hours. We've been approved, going back in the historical data that we found, that we're fully approved to be open until 9 o'clock at night.
Okay, so what are that? Because you had said it was till 10.
Oh,
and
back,
now it's-
I
what are they
just,
now?
as a historical point,
Yes.
at certain points growing up, I know they were open till 10, because I would go up there. We are open till 9 right now, as per our historic approval of being open till 9 o'clock this time of year.
And then what was it before the new LED lights went in?
9
What were
o'clock.
the hours? It was open till 9?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't change anything. The lights were not new to the property. To Mike's point, these are, when you're replacing anything nowadays, you're going to the LEDs. These were just new lights, then the old ones were terribly inefficient.
I would be interested in ways that we could have less light pollution out there. So if there are ways to do that, I would like to hear what those ways are.
Thank you. All right. Let's move to the next item on the agenda, presentation of summer program updates. I invite Chris Farrell with the City of Walnut Creek forward to provide that presentation. Thanks.
Hi, as mentioned, Chris Farrow, Director of Arts and Recreation. We're going to run through some fun things that we have going on this summer. But as always, the best place to find your information is through our summer activity guide, which is available online. And it's pages and pages and pages full of great stuff. And I'm not going to bore you and walk it through it line by line. But if you have questions about our programs or want more information, that is the best place to go. With that, we will jump into it. So we'll go kind of facility by facility and program by program to give you some highlights. So Lesher Center for the Arts and our Center Rep program have some great programs going on. In fact, just yesterday, I was at the theater seeing Jagged Little Pill, and I can't recommend it high enough. Everyone needs to go out and see it. Phenomenal job. Matt definitely knocked it out of the park with Center Rep in this one. So coming up, we have the return of Summer Sounds, 3 concerts that we've seen in previous summers. So some new bands this year, but same series. Our concert truck will be out and about once again at Shadelands and Civic Park. And then our theater lineup, we have Jagged Little Pill that's running now through the end of the month. We have our Young Rep Theater Lab, which is like a theater camp with a performance at the end. We have Pacific Mamba Orchestra coming up. For the return of our Fiesta Cultural Street Fair, and then our Young Rep Showcase. At our Bedford Gallery, our current installation is Aztec Stories in Modern Mexico, and these pictures do not do it justice. It is incredibly vibrant, beautiful exhibit. I highly recommend that you get over there and check it out. A couple weeks ago, we did have the artist in town, and it was really great to learn more about him. He had an interpreter on site to tell his story, and it was great. But even without him being present, highly recommend that you get over there and see the show. And then we have our Kaleidoscope, again, an annual program that we do, and our public art walking tours have been really successful. So they go offline during the winter, but they're back now, and we've added a new one where you can tour the artwork that's in the library. So fun addition. Our summer camps, we offer a variety of summer camps through our traditional recreation programs, but also through our arts arm. So everything from your kind of traditional, stereotypical summer camp, but also focusing on various parts of the arts. So theater camps, dance camps, our Young Rep Theater Camp, some specialized recreation programs, and our preschool camps as well. And we do look at the different school schedules when we do that. So even if you are at a school district that has a different schedule, you may get out a week earlier or a week later, we always have at least one camp going on to coincide with all of our various school districts in the area. For classes, again, looking at both the things provided by our recreation folks as well as our Center for Community Arts folks. We check a lot of boxes with special interests, so drama and music and ceramics and sports and sewing and fiber arts, writing, glass and weaving, personal enrichment, culinary arts, all kinds of fun things going on at our programs, which are offered at Civic, over at Shadelands, and then at Tice Valley Gym as well. For aquatics, we still have our Clark and Larky pools up and running. Clark is, thanks to Public Works, hanging on by a thread, but we're going to make it until the opening of our new pool. We say there's anything that you can do with duct tape, we're doing it out there. So far, so good. I should knock on something since I said that. So we'll have all of our normal programs going on over the summer, swim lessons, water aerobics, and then I did want to mention our partners because they have a lot of programs going on too. So Aquanuts, our master's program, our Aqua Bears program. Busy time of year, obviously, for our aquatics folks. And the part that I wanted to mention was it's a great opportunity to employ a lot of youth in the city. So we are onboarding over 100 people for our aquatics and camps programs this summer. So it's a really great place to get your foot in the door, learn about municipal recreation, and for a lot of folks, it's their first job, and we see them again summer after summer. So got to give a shout out to my seasonal employees that are coming back to us this summer. And then we have our senior services and specialized recreation folks. Their offices are located over at Civic, but we really run their programs throughout the city, working in conjunction with a lot of partners, including the county, who give us Cafe Costa, for example, and then our transportation program that brings us a cooperative between Lyft and a minibus transportation system. So we're able to get those that cannot drive and have limited access to other transportation modes, we can get them out and about to the services they need, and that could be anything from a doctor's appointment to grocery shopping and such. And then we also have many partners who come in to provide things like tax preparation, legal services, all at either low or no cost. So all of those services are available on drop-in and scheduled. Boundary Oak, Tim did a great job, so I think we already touched on most of these things. One of the questions that came up were about our youth programs there, so yes to repeat Tim. A lot of things will be going on this summer with First Tee, our golf camps, golf lessons. Tim had mentioned briefly that we work with the local middle schools and high schools, so they'll be on break, so we won't see them as much, but that is a really great youth program throughout the year that they do spend a lot of time on our course, so they're familiar, and I'm sure they'll be hanging out at the driving range in the summer. I did want to mention that we do, through Arts and Recreation, we do the picnic reservations. So although the parks are maintained under the Parks unit in Public Works, we are the reservation host. So if you are in need of a picnic site, you will be contacting us to make that reservation. And in the summer, obviously a big place that we add is the pool. So you can also rent one of those spaces out at the pool for your birthday party or special event. We have drop-in sports going on at Tice Valley, badminton, pickleball, basketball, and volleyball. So it's also a great way to meet city staff, because city staff drop in and play at those sports programs also. So if you're looking for somebody in IT or in admin services, I just put you all on blast. You guys know where to go find them now. They're out playing at drop-in sports programs. A lot of fun. So a great summer starts here. So here's all of our contacts. I put the web addresses on since that's where most people are going on their phones these days. If you have any questions, again, activity guide is #1 spot. Website has a lot of information. You can also register online or at any one of our facilities, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Why not? Gotta ask one question. What's the newest additions to the
So
various things?
the one that jumps to the mind is we've added some specialized rec aquatics programs. So that will be a new one for us. Gosh, what else? There has to be more, but that's the one that we've been talking about the most because we're really excited about
That's a great
launching.
ad.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks for coming. sharing.
absolutely.
I have a quick question. With the construction at Heather Farm and the loss of the community space there, are we having to find new places, or are the Civic Park facilities enough, or how are we?
So interestingly enough, we thought that our other facilities would capture those rentals, and they actually haven't. And so my guess is that folks are finding other things outside of the city, and maybe that's private, maybe that's wineries, that kind of thing. It's not apples to apples, our other facilities. So if you were looking to host, for example, a wedding at Heather Farm, you're probably not going to use Tice Valley Gym for that same wedding. So I think a lot of probably private industry picked up those rentals. So we aren't seeing the impact so much to our other facilities.
I have a question about the soccer field reservation. I recently was asked by somebody in my neighborhood on how to make reservation or have access to the soccer field. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, you can contact Arts and Rec that runs through our sports unit, and they can help with that. Going into the summer, so to back up, we do keep the new fields locked, and that's just to preserve the the quality of the turf. However, on school closures days during the school year, we do open it and we have staff on site to monitor and provide supervision. So that was kind of our test pilot to see how that worked for us. We don't have the budget to have staff out there for the entire summer, but we will have some scheduled days that it is just open and folks can use it. And that could be used for, just pop in play, could be used for, just calisthenics, that sort of thing. But if you want to use it on a regular basis or for a tournament and you want to be the only person out there, then you would call our department and we would schedule that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So to follow up, the soccer fields are locked.
When not in use, other than school year closure dates. So like spring break and winter break and things like that.
I've seen a lot of comments online of people complaining about that because they said, hey, as citizens of Walnut Creek, we just paid for these new fields and now they're inaccessible to us. I understand that we need to make sure that a scheduled program gets priority, but couldn't you just post a schedule on there so that it's open to the public?
The bigger side, and this is per council direction, so council made the call on this, is that we have already learned that staff supervision is required when we unlock that gate. And on the first day that we tried the pilot program, for example, there were people out there on scooters. There were people running their dogs off leash and not picking up after them, like on our first day of trying it. So we've learned already that it's the staff supervision piece. And so we need to work that into our budget. So this is what it looks like for us right now today, but going into our next 2-year budget cycle, perhaps we can look at a different staffing model and different budget to make it available more hours. But that's what we've worked out for now.
Right. Yeah. Even myself, I ran by it the other day and I'm like, oh, it is locked. Like, it seems weird to have this public park that's locked and not accessible. So.
Anything else?
Any other questions from the commissioners? If not, we're opening for a public comment. Any public comments on the presentation? All right. Hearing none, we're moving to, thanks, Chris. We're moving to the next item on the agenda, open space summary. I invite Mike Vickers with City of Walnut Creek forward to provide the presentation.
So good evening. For the record, Assistant Public Works Director Mike Vickers. This is a continuation of the long presentation I gave at the last meeting. This won't be nearly as long. Sometimes feedback after the meetings are important. So jumping right in. So like I said, this is this is really just focused around the open space. A lot of information on these slides. I'm certainly not going to get into all that information. One of the key takeaways from this meeting here, from this presentation, is you'll see about the 4th line down under created, basically when the property was purchased in '74. That is almost all of our open spaces with exception of 1 or 2. And that has to do with the bond that the community decided to tax themselves on back in 1974, which is referred to as the R8 bond. Which that bond was somewhere around the neighborhood of about $7 million, and that money was used immediately after it was passed to start purchasing this property. And so as you see some of these slides, I'm not going to keep repeating, but you'll notice that most of it was purchased in '74. So this is Acalanes. This is one of our smaller open spaces of the 4 areas that we have. It's about 200 acres, about 4.5 miles of both combined single track and multi-track. There's no cattle grazing. Here at Acalanes, there is goat grazing. We used to cattle graze here in Acalanes up to about 2010. And unfortunately, with the size of the property and the way the property is laid out, there was several animal-human contacts. And it was deemed to be unsafe to both have cattle out there along with hikers or civilians. So we did away with the cattle grazing. You might hear there's more of a little bit more stir in the Acalanes neighborhood about bringing cattle back. So you might hear or see some of this stuff online. I'm just kind of sharing some of the history with you. Dogs are allowed off leash at this park, as most of them. And there's really 2 sections to Acalanes. There's South Acalanes and North Acalanes. South Ocalanis is almost completely surrounded by Pleasant Hill or county property, and the same with North Ocalanis. And then back in 2010, 2011, there was a joint partnership to purchase 26 acres, which is referred to as the John Muir property in Ocalanis. It's an upper ridge that was going to be developed, and 4 agencies, including the City of Walnut Creek, put their funding together to purchase the property and preserve it. So Howe Homestead is it's a historical property here in Walnut Creek, but it's not on the historical register. It's just a passive use space. We have 49 garden plots out there that are very active. These are really large plots. They're over 600 square feet, which is the largest plots that we've found definitely in the county. It's a great deal. It's about $200 a year per plot, and there's about a 5 or 6 year waiting list. If you can imagine, people are investing all this time and energy, and with the multifamily housing that we have, if you're fortunate enough to get one of these plots, they're not typically turned over very, very often. So if you're interested in a plot, you can reach out to the Ranger Department, which you can find that online, or you can wait 4 or 5 years and reach out then. There's no cattle grazing here. It is mostly a passive area, as I mentioned. There are a number of picnic areas out there, and this is really one of the opportunities for the neighborhood to get into Shell Ridge. There's a single track trail, which is a multi-use trail that leads from Howe Homestead into Shell Ridge called the Pig Covar Trail, and it's a fairly active trail. Lime Ridge open space. So Lime Ridge is the second largest open space. This property, and I could have these dates off just ever so slightly, but we didn't start purchasing Lime Ridge until '78, and then we were buying it in pieces and completed the purchase in 1993. It's about 1,200 acres, a little bit more than 1,200 acres. Additionally, we maintain 250 acres of Lime Ridge that is on, I say maintain, we don't maintain it, we manage it on the Concord property. And there's a funding agreement there. We basically have about a half a ranger that's funded to oversee that property. There is, excuse me, I got my slides mixed up here. There's about 7 or 8 miles. Lime Ridge is really broken into 3 different sections. We have North Lime Ridge, which is basically north of YVR, which we do cattle graze that area, and dogs are all allowed off leash. And then when you step over to or jump over to the south side of YVR, we refer to that as Central Lime Ridge. Dogs are not allowed in Central Lime Ridge because of some of the rare plant material we have. And in the South Lime Ridge, dogs are allowed, and we actually cattle graze there, but the dogs are required to be on leash in South Lime Ridge. So it's a little confusing. It's, we're out, the rangers are out there fairly often helping to educate and remind people just to be mindful of the regulatory signs at each of the trailheads so that you're following the rules. So Borges Ranch, most of you know or well aware of Borges Ranch, which is located in Shell Ridge. The area that we refer to, which is a developed area, is about 20 acres. There's some camping there, and there's picnicking there at Hannah Grove. There's a number of restrooms. We actually do a fair amount of weddings. I say a fair amount, not a fair amount, maybe 10 to 12 weddings a year up at Borges Ranch, which is kind of fun to have outdoor weddings. Great setting. It's quiet. There is camping at Borges, and there's also camping at Sugarloaf, but we don't allow family camping. It's more nonprofits. It's more the Girl Scout, Boy Scout camps. We don't do individuals or families, anything along those lines. If you haven't been to the house, I believe the house is open the 4th Sunday of every month for a tour, and it's really pretty fascinating when you walk through it, especially if you've had kids, to know that they had 4 or 5 kids living in this house. It would be a little challenging. I think I would be building some tents or something along those lines just for myself to get out of the house. So Great spot, though. We do a lot of we do a lot of youth educational groups up there with the school kids are coming in. We have a number of docents that come in and provide the history and actually some of the historical games, and it's pretty fun. Shell Ridge itself is about 1,500 acres. It's definitely our largest piece. We do cattle graze and a number of pastures throughout the space. We used to, and I think I've shared this with you guys before, that back in 2018 or 2019, 17 or 18, we started installing troughs around different areas in the open space because we were doing rotational grazing at that time, which is basically managing the cattle no different than you would manage goats with electric fencing. And unfortunately, that process is very expensive. Our grazer no longer offers rotational grazing, so they're back to just traditional grazing where the cattle are just basically roaming in the areas. We can somewhat control where they're going on whether or not there's water in the troughs, but there's a big benefit to having water in the troughs other than just for cattle grazing. For wildlife, we do get some equestrians moving through some of these areas that can take advantage of some of that opportunity. So there's restrooms. We have a number of seasonal ponds throughout the open space. The majority of them are in Shell Ridge. Dogs are off leash, and I think most of you have heard of Fossil Hill, the Fossil Hill Project, which is over off of Sutherland. That is the Walnut Creek Open Spaces Foundation's largest project. I think it's somewhere around 7 to 9 acres right now. As many of you know, that we've had challenges in the past with poppies and some impacts to the neighborhood. We didn't see the growth in poppies that we had seen back during that what people refer to as the super bloom in '23. And so there were no measures that took place this year in order to keep the traffic at bay. And as far as we know, things were back to relatively back to normal from where they were before the super bloom. So Sugarloaf is our smallest space. We do cattle graze up there, but we actually fence a portion of it off. Sugarloaf is probably best described. It parallels 680. If you're driving down 680 and you're looking up in the hills, you can see a pretty large portion of it. There is camping there, as I mentioned, and also picnicking. There's a number of restroom sites, great views of the surrounding East Bay, a number of connector trails. There's also a native plant garden, and dogs are off leash, are authorized to be off leash in that area. And by off leash, it's typically voice control or sight control or vision of the dogs. So we have a paved trail system. This is focused on the Ignacio Canal Trail, which is 5.5 to 6 miles long. We have approximately 8 or 9 full miles of paved trails throughout the city that the city manages. If you haven't been on this paved trail system, I'm sure your kids have. It's really a great spot for neighborhood, whether you're hiking or whether you're getting to school or you're just going out for a walk. It's a great system. There's a portion of the paved trail system that ties into the Contra Costa Canal Trail, which is managed by East Bay Regional. Other than if you were looking for signage, you really wouldn't know who's responsible for what trail system because they're both fairly well maintained. So I'm not going to go through all of these. This is a document that a committee of volunteers worked with the Pros Commission on. Actually, the chair and vice chair back in 2020 put a document together of trail recommendations, and there was a list of 17 recommendations. I think I've gone through this a number of times with this body. Let me just see if there's anything of real importance to point out. Nothing. Most of these have been completed. You'll see I there, which is explore the possibility of multi-use flow trails. For those of you who weren't on the commission back then, back when we were vetting this over the last, it was probably from 21 to 24, somewhere in that range. We did have a flow trail designed for Lime Ridge. That has been, that project has been completed. We did not move forward with that project. That's why it says completed up there. And there's not a lot else that stands out here. I sent this document to the commission last week, just as a reminder. So I brought these up in case you guys have some questions. We can discuss those during the question and answer period. Yeah, and I would say one of the projects that is still very important to us that we haven't been able to move forward with is implementing a volunteer patrol program. There's definitely a need. The Rangers have done a great job. They continue to enforce daily through the education program, and to have a few more volunteers out there just to remind people to ensure that they're following the rules and doing the right thing is always beneficial. So current projects, this is kind of in line with what Mr. Simmons was referring to earlier with the Walnut Creek watershed. This Bram Hall Pond, this is our 6th or 7th pond in the open space that we are. So we've already desilted, I think, 6 ponds. This will be number 7. We're waiting on permitting from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. Before we move forward, we do plan to, assuming we get the permitting on time, we do plan to move forward and desilt this pond in August or September of this year to ensure we're done by the rainy season, by the October 15th date. We do partner from time to time with the Walnut Creek watershed. We have done extensive partnership with the Walnut Creek Open Space Foundation. Not only have they helped us mitigate, replant, but they've also come to the table with funding on every one of our desilting projects. They've really been fantastic partners over the years. This is an ongoing project. You can see this, I probably could have got a little better example than the one on the left. It doesn't look very great, but those signs are probably 10, 12 years old. They're faded. They don't share probably enough information. We received some feedback and decided to upgrade the signs, so we're going from the ones on the left to the one on the right. The information is a little bit more clear. For example, with the symbol there of the bike, obviously if you're on a single track trail or in an area that you're not supposed to be, there would just be a red line through that trail. So these are 6x6 posts as opposed to 4x4 posts. And we have about 200 that we need to install, and to date we've installed about 60. And so once we finish weed abatement within the next week or so, this will be our summertime project. Every year we have a open space summertime project. It's tough to do a lot of work on the trails in the summertime because the soil's so dry. So we're either rebuilding or painting kiosks. Last year we built some retaining walls, and this year this is our summertime project. So there was a couple other projects or topics that had been discussed over the last couple years. One was drones. I came to the commission, I think it was last year, maybe even at the end of 24, to get your feedback on implementing a drone policy. I did receive your feedback. I still need to take that to council. I have not moved forward that project to go to city council to update the municipal code. There's no reason why I haven't, other than, well, actually there is a $77 million reason. That's out at Heather Farm. I've been a little busy with that project. And then the second one is, it was probably a year or so ago when we were having a discussion not only here at the Pros, but also citywide, that was being led by the city manager's office to update our bicycle and skateboard municipal code. We have paused on updating the municipal code As we know, there's legislation currently moving through California, and we do not want to get ahead of that legislation or those bills. We want to ensure that the state vets that process through before we make any decisions here in Walnut Creek. And that's end of my presentation for your action tonight. I'd appreciate to get feedback from all of you on the information I just shared, and I'll open it up to questions.
Does Walnut Creek have any rules about e-bikes in the open space?
We do. So we currently follow the state guidelines that authorize Class 1 and 2 e-bikes in the open space.
Mike, a while ago, I'd asked you what the ownership status of our open space was and if there were any reserved rights. And this had to do, it triggered my thinking by the articles that were saying that Mount Diablo could be subject to oil and gas leasing because the feds, I guess, held the underlying mineral rights. So you were checking with people who might know this in the legal department, I assume. So did you ever get a response on that? Are they still investigating, or?
I have not. I checked in with our legal department, and I haven't heard back. So I will reach out to them again and see if they can move that up on their priority list and hopefully bring an update back at the next PROS meeting. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I haven't heard anything back yet. So I'm assuming, state land is probably subject to some different laws than as opposed to municipal land, but I'll have to follow up.
Right, and part of my concern was things that affect our open space aren't just on our land, but are adjacent to our land. So, it was a little bit broader than just our properties themselves, but where we border other open space lands, kind of in that region of Mount Diablo. So, yeah,
Thank you.
we'll find
Thank you for
something
that.
out, great.
I'll follow up. Yep.
Yeah.
Mike, do you mind bring up that table or the status of all the action items just for reference again? See. So for the items that are ongoing, and then can you
make
go
this?
down to the next slide? And current, is there any priority? I guess it's all depending on the resources, the funding, and the staff availability, or the trail committee's availability in terms of implementing these recommendations. Is there any item that's kind of the highest priority for on the implementation, or they're kind of pursuing it concurrently with all the ongoing items and current items?
Yeah, so do you have one particular, or do you want me to, like Jay here, for example, evaluate trails that were
Yeah, that's my specific question
Yeah.
for that item, yeah.
Yeah, so as part of the Trail Committee recommendation plan that I showed you, there's a number of maps within that plan, and there's some trails that were recently authorized. There's a trail in Shell Ridge that was a social trail, and there's a trail in Lime Ridge that was also considered to be a social trail that are now permanent, and they're authorized trails to be on. They're signed. There's regulatory information out there. The trails are safe. So those are two trails of the probably 6 or 7 that are in that plan that I shared with you. Part of the challenge with the plan and the different suggestions is the bulk of those trails are on Concord property. So we don't own that property. We manage it. We've had conversations with Concord, and we need to continue to have more in-depth conversation with them about whether or not that's something that they're going to be receptive of.
Okay, Can you keep us updated in the future on that item? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually, it's an ongoing, it's a newly, we talked about it for probably a year and a half. We tabled it. Concord now has moved through some employee transition. They have a new director. And we started having this discussion probably 4 to 6 weeks ago. And so it's coming back again. Concord is definitely interested in talking more about it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I have another question. L, on that same page, we have a trail advocacy group or similar group that says it's complete? Like what?
Yeah, so this wasn't really, so there's a number of trail advocacy groups. In fact, there's individuals, for example, Mr. Smith, who's here tonight, who's the president of the Open Space Foundation, works, and even Bob Simmons, who was here with the Walnut Creek Watershed, work with these groups fairly often. There's groups such as the Trail Dogs. That's their name. They come out, they help us with work on the trails. They help come out and remove their fencing that might be damaged and potentially impact wildlife. They'll come out and remove the barbed wire and the posts. We have developed, probably pre-COVID, I can't remember if it was pre-COVID or just after COVID, we had a number of volunteers that were coming out from the biking community that were helping with a number of projects. There's also a couple other groups that we regularly, there's actually there's a group called Defensors, and then the Trail Dogs, two different volunteer groups that we work with. We clearly partner with the Open Space Foundation, and we regularly have, not regularly, but we definitely get feedback, and we've had discussions with the East Bay Bike Council in the past about some opportunities that they see in the open space.
Okay, so there was nothing really specific. It was more a general approach to this, which is we partner.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then another question is, I noticed a couple of the open spaces have water at the trailheads, or some of the trailheads, or near the parking lots. Is there any chance of adding water in Lime Ridge? Just something to consider for the future.
So do you have a specific area?
Yeah, well, there's none that I've ever found in Lime Ridge.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of
Potable
Valley
water.
Vista. The golf course is there. That's one of the benefits, right? The golf course has the public restrooms and
Yeah, well, I
drinking
live
fountains.
in the Woodlands neighborhood, and, I mostly hike there or cross the tunnel and, go into the other side. And, yeah, I've never seen water over there.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge, because we've had these questions before, right? Why can't you add more restrooms? And for example, at some of our parks, right? San Miguel Park doesn't have a restroom. There's no sewer there. The problem is typically the utility hookups. To bring in, well, I'll give you an example. We're putting in two 2-inch water main, 2.5-inch water mains that are going to feed the new pool and community center at a price of just over $600,000. And so to bring in a 3/4-inch meter or 5/8 meter to the site, and it's not, they call it the meter price, but it's the piping to get it there. It's the long-term maintenance and those types of things. It's probably, $70,000 to $80,000 to get a drinking fountain out there. Yeah, so it's costly.
Okay. And then on the grazing, I know that you explained before the issues that the ranchers have with the electric fences, but it is a lot more difficult to take my dog to the open space when cattle are everywhere on the trails, and I mean, I don't know, is there any way of trying to convince them? Are there any formal complaints? I mean, have there been issues with the cattle being aggressive or anything, or is it really not much of an issue?
There was a complaint we received 4 or 5 years ago about an aggressive over off the Valley Vista entrance In Lime Ridge, there was a resident that said he had been harassed a number of times by cattle. We reached out to the rancher. We asked the individual, most of the cattle are numbered. We asked the individual, you don't want to get close enough to see the number, but if for some reason you can identify the cow, to let us know, and we can get a hold of the rancher. We put some signage up. That was, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago. That's one comment that we received. Obviously, as I was sharing earlier with Akalani's, we received a number of comments, and so we pulled the cattle out of that area altogether. We don't get a lot of feedback about aggressive animals. We definitely get feedback about cattle being out there, and some of the impacts that they might have on trails. We try to pull the cattle off before the rains hit, so they're not pockmarking the trails. We've been asked that we go out there and remove the cow pies from the trail. We don't have the staff to do that. But so we do get some comments like that periodically, but we get well over 1 million users, and in the 16 years I've been managing the open space, we've probably had 24 comments.
Okay, well, that's good to know if it's not impacting people's use of the open space. But I don't know, personally, I liked it better when they had the electric fences because it kept the cattle under better control.
So did we. And in fact, we took it, East Bay Regional, they have like 11 or 12 different ranchers because they have so much property, and they don't have a rotational grazing rancher. They're just, I don't want to call it a dying breed. It's just so expensive to have a rancher out there because you basically have to have somebody on property because the fencing gets cut fairly regularly, or the fencing loses its charge because the soils are so dry, and so you got to wet the area, and it's pretty challenging. Yeah.
Okay. And I do appreciate what they do for fire prevention, so I'm not, it's just unfortunate that it's too expensive to go that way.
Yeah, that and people cutting fences is unfortunate as well. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about the ponds and the distilling in Shell Ridge. I just wanted to ask if something similar is being done with the pond under Indiana Valley.
Indian Valley?
Indian Valley, yeah, the school.
Or sorry, Indian
Valley, yeah, the elementary school. There's a pond. I'm pretty sure there's a pond underneath it.
That's correct.
Yeah, I was just wondering if something similar is being done with that pond as there is with the other ponds.
So that pond really has a couple different sections in it. There's the upper portion and then the lower portion. The upper portion definitely needs to be desilted. It's not currently going to take place. The only one we're going to do this year is Bramhall, which is just upstream from that pond. And then next year we're hoping to do Twin Ponds, which is on the Twin Pond Loop Trail. And then hopefully by 29, 30, we're back into Indian Valley Pond and desilting that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions from commissioners? If not, I'm going to open this item up for public comments. Please step forward to the podium. Any public comments? Okay. Also complete a speaker card. Oh, you already did that. Okay. Consistent with the city policy related to public comments, each speaker will have 2 minutes to make your remarks. All right.
Okay, my name's Barbara Guinness. I've been a resident since '96. There are several open space projects that were presented in prior pros meetings that the community hadn't heard a status on for a while, even though the items were presented. Mr. Vickers just gave a couple statuses tonight about the drone ordinance that's still to be taken care of, going to council. Another one was on the e-bike ordinance. It sounds like they're waiting for legislation, which could take quite a while. The other project is a status of social trails to official trails. I think I heard Mr. Vickers say a couple were done. I don't know, there was one in Lime Ridge and one in Shell Ridge that I haven't heard anything about and haven't seen a trail checklist and that type of thing on that. Another one was there's a status of the Bramhill Pond Restoration Project. There was a document written in March of 2025. It was not just the desilting, it was planting a lot of plants. I wondered what's going on with that, status of that. And then the last thing, I think Mr. Vickers somewhat mentioned about the Fossil Hill Restoration Project. I think particularly there's one more section, the northeast corner, that was wanted to be developed or restored. So I think it's really a good idea to let the community know about the status of items if they're brought up in prior PROS meetings. So we did get some status tonight, but I just wanted to say that's a good thing to do. Don't let them go that long. And then also on the Boundary Oaks Golf Course presentation, I just wanted to mention on the agenda report, it says there will be a question and answer portion for the PROS Commission and the community to engage with the organization at the end of the presentation. So anyway, I thought we'd have question and answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have a discussion on the public comments? No? All right. So the next item on the agenda is staff update on park projects. Do the staff have any updates on park projects?
Yeah, I don't have anything further to add other than the fact that the Art and Wine is going to take place this Saturday and Sunday at Civic Park. And I believe it is I'm looking over at Chris, she may know better than I do. I think it's on Saturday and both Sunday. It's a noon start and goes to, I think Saturday goes to 8 o'clock p.m. and then Sunday goes to 6 p.m.
Thanks. Any other updates?
No, not from staff.
Okay. All right. The next item is the commissioner's announcements. Commissioners have any updates or announcements? All right. I have an announcement to make. This is our youth commissioner, Eli's last PROS meeting. We really appreciate your input, your participation, and bring the Walnut Creek youth perspective to the matters that in front of the PROS Commission. So we have a little token of appreciation for you, and we wish you the best of luck in your next career endeavor.
Yes, thank you.
All right, you want to share your updates,
No, I don't have any updates, but I'd just like to say that it's been an honor to work with you all, and I wish you the best in all of your future endeavors.
Thank you. With that, the meeting is adjourned.